welcome to another week of Michigan Football 90.99 on WOLV. My name is Luke Forrest. I'll be your host for the night. I'm joined again by Rob Renas, the defensive tackle and captain of the football team, and Justin Angelo will be here later with the Big Ten and national report. The Wolverines are in considerably better spirits this week after pulling off 2 consecutive wins versus the Indiana Hoosiers and this past Saturday against the Northwestern Wildcats. But first, the Wolverines are 7-2 now, 4-2 in the Big Ten, tied for 3rd place, ranked 12th in the BCS rankings that came out this past Sunday. And first, we want to get to some more positive news that off the field of combat relates a little closer to us here. WOLV's own Rob Renas, sitting next to me, has just been awarded an $18,000 scholarship by the National Football Foundation, the National College Football Foundation, for excellence in the classroom as well as on the field. We just want to say congratulations first. And you'll be traveling to New York later?
In early December. There's a banquet and awards sort of ceremony, so look forward to that. I've never been to the Big Apple, and if anybody's got any good tips on what to do out there, send them in.
So you just found out about this past week then?
Yeah, I found out last week, so it's been pretty excited about it, but we want to finish up the year well and think about that stuff later.
Okay, so this scholarship is for postgraduate academic work, if you want to pursue that.
Right, so eventually when football's finished, I'll be going back to school and get my master's in something that'll hopefully be useful for the rest of my life.
All right, that's great. So we just wanted to congratulate Rob. But then we have a football game that happened this past weekend to get to, and also the big test coming up this next week against the Penn State Nittany Lions. After the close wins of the past 2 weeks, what was the team's outlook going into this Northwestern game?
Well, we knew that we'd have to have our best game if we wanted to try to accomplish the sorts of things that we still had at task for the rest of the year. We wanted to win, but we wanted to win playing well. We wanted to put 4 quarters together, not just a good first half and then, a dismal second half. So we concentrated on that all week. In the past 2 weeks, we've had a couple good weeks practice. We went out there Saturday, and we played the sort of football that we wanted to play, that we needed to play. And the score indicates that. So
you said not just to win, but to win playing well. There were goals this week, not just in this game, but you wanted to show coming together as a team for the next 2 weeks after that.
Absolutely. We want to bring things back together, so that we could finish the season the way we intended to start out and carry on to the whole season. We had a couple setbacks, there a few weeks ago, but we've come back together, and we know we've got a couple big things on our plate. It's got to take them one day at a time, but we're very confident that we can do that.
Well, first we're going to take a look right now at the highlights from this past Saturday, hosting the Northwestern Wildcats. Parents' weekend here in Ann Arbor. Did your family come in for the game, right?
My parents have been to all the games. I've been very fortunate with that, and it's pretty exciting. They were excited, and so were the rest of the 100,000 fans. Yeah,
there were so many parents. I live right by the stadium. Parents are walking around everywhere. Now, the Wildcats came out and moved the ball well in the short passing game. Were you expecting the way they came out to play on offense?
Oh, we knew that they were going to try to take advantage of whatever defense we were in, to the best of their ability.
First, right there, I have to interrupt you because the big play by Rob Renas, stuffing the shotgun draw running play. Tell us a little bit about that play.
Well, I just came up with the ball. The guy with the ball was there, and I tackled him.
No, the offense got the ball. The first possession sputtered out pretty quickly, but the second possession, the offense really started moving the ball. You saw Tom Brady hitting David Terrell a second ago. Anthony Thomas ran the ball well all day. 17 carries, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here's David Terrell, 5 catches, 71 yards. He also came up with an interception on defense. But the key, the offensive line played a great game, didn't you think?
The offensive line is really putting it together. They're healthy, they're playing well together, and they're getting the sort of things done that they've, set the goals they've set for themselves for the year. And I tell you what, going into practice and playing against them every day, not only gets them better, but it sure makes us tougher.
Now, Victor Hobson got the start, making a nice play in the backfield. The defense was swarming. Wildcats stopped quickly there, and Tom Brady just kept on going with the offense. hitting Diallo Johnson down the sideline. Diallo Johnson had a big game with 49 yards receiving. Here, Anthony Thomas working his way up the middle. The running play, did you think this was the best Thomas had run in quite a while?
Yeah, Thomas has done a good job all year running the ball. Our offensive line, the way they've been playing lately, he's really been following the blocks extremely well. And, he's really, I think, gaining more and more confidence each week, and that showed this week, and he had a tremendous game.
Right, and there you saw how the running can set up the passing game. The play-action bomb, an amazing passing catch from Brady to Marcus Knight. And this drive was perhaps the most impressive. Real short drive because Anthony Thomas broke a big one there, 60 yards. We've sort of been waiting for him to do that throughout the year. Perfect blocking by the wide receivers, offensive line, everyone on that play. It was a team
Everybody
play.
executed the way they needed to execute. And, when you get Anthony out in the open field, there's not too many guys that can catch him.
And to hear David Terrell making a nice play on 4th down, the Wolverines keep the starting offense in there with Henson with the pooch punt down there on the 2-yard line. Defense did a great job holding the Wildcats, forcing them to punt. So Michigan had a chance to run the 2-minute offense. Diallo Johnson making some nice moves down the sideline. Here we see another pass to Diallo Johnson. The defensive back gambled on it a little bit. Spin move made him pay. Got down to the 1-yard line, and of course, you know who's getting the ball here, Anthony Thomas. Goes in for the touchdown. It's 27-0 at half. Now, at halftime, after the comebacks and the close games of the past couple weeks where you had big leads and then the other team came back, what was it a different approach at halftime, a different feeling?
We wanted to come out in the second half and put together, like I said earlier, put together a whole game. We knew we were having some success in certain areas, and we wanted to try and utilize those and make some improvement on those. And then what things we weren't doing especially well, we wanted to make sure we could fix and not let them exploit in the second half. And we knew that if we played hard for the next 30 minutes the way we were playing, and if we continued to execute, we'd come out with a win. And that's what we did. And like I said, because we did that, we got better, and that gives us confidence going into this next week.
Did the coaches have any different approach at halftime than they have in the past?
I think it was a collaborative, collective effort. Starting from the top of the coaches all the way down to the players. We all understood that we need to listen to the coaches. The coaches did a great job of making sure we understood the changes and the tendencies that we were seeing out there. And we just had to go out there and execute, and that's what we did finally.
And we'll check that out now. The second half highlights, Michigan really no letdown in the second half against the Wildcats. The first offensive possession only took 5 plays to go on the field, 83 yards. Anthony Thomas, big run down the sideline there. And the fullback, Aaron Shea, got to carry the ball a few times this game. It was nice to see. He hasn't carried it too many times this game. Is Aaron Shea one of the unsung heroes of this team?
Absolutely. Aaron Shea is really, truly a leader on our team. He's done a great job his whole career at Michigan. In the last couple years, he's done a tremendous job. And this year, he's just having a great year. The guys really respect him. We respect his work ethic. And when he gets a chance to carry the ball or get some publicity or what have you for what he's doing, he really deserves it, and we're happy for him.
And there you see another play-action pass. Benny Joffrey, a touchdown in the game for the second week in a row. He's taken over the bulk of the tight end receiving duties, doing a very nice job. Then the Northwestern Wildcats came back with their only scoring drive of the game. Was there anything different that they were doing in this drive?
Well, on this play, we have him, nearly tackled,
right.
And he ends up scrambling for 40, 50 yards. Anytime you pick up 50 yards on one play, you're going to undoubtedly be within scoring range. That's exactly what happened. We didn't knock him out of field goal range. We didn't hold him enough to keep him out of field goal range, and that they ended up getting the field goal because of that.
Right, a nice run by Damian Anderson there, his best run of the day. But then to stop the scoring drive, a nice play here. Josh Williams forces the quarterback to take a slide. He gets a sack along with Tahani Jones and Freisinger and others in there. So the Wildcats are forced to kick a field goal. It's 34-3. Overall, you had to be happy with. They had a couple nice plays, but you didn't give them any big touchdown plays. You held them close. And the Michigan offense Now, was it nice to see as a veteran all these guys, all these backups and younger players getting in?
It was extremely exciting for me. I can remember my first times I got to play extensively. And later this drive, Brandon Kornblue, a guy that's been here, came in with me, fifth-year senior, gets a chance to go out and kick a field goal. He kicks it true, and it was exciting for all of us.
Right, and Dayton Dubuque there gets his first catch of his career.
Here's Kornblue's, field goal.
Right, the whole team had to be rooting for him on that play.
Yeah, we really get excited when a guy that doesn't have normally a lot of opportunities, when he gets an opportunity, it comes through as big as Brandon did. It's a tribute to him, and we're really excited for him, and we're excited for the team.
Right, and it also must be nice as a veteran player who plays out there, a starter who plays out there all the time, to get that rest at the end of the game, not have to go hard the entire game, get to watch other guys.
It's a long season. Whenever you get an opportunity to, get other guys out there, it makes the team stronger. And in addition to making the team stronger, it gives you a few less plays, and hopefully that'll pay off. The last couple games.
Right. It was a very impressive game overall, and pretty much all facets of the game. 37-3 was the final. The offense had 449 yards of total offense. Incredible balance. 223 rushing, 226 passing. That's really, you can't really ask for more balance than that. And then on defense, holding the Wildcats to only 200 yards. No big plays had to be the phrase that was repeated by Coach Carr and everybody else.
Well, that's always a philosophy with Michigan defense. If you get 11 guys the ball, the chances of a big play are pretty minimal. We haven't been able to do that the last couple of weeks, and when you can't do that, then you're either in for a dogfight or you're in for a loss. And that's not a situation we look forward to or that we want to be a part of. And Saturday we were able to avoid that by getting a lot more guys the ball and playing some great defense.
All right, so the Wolverines seem to have everything together. They're in the position they want to be. We'll talk about the upcoming game versus Penn State in a minute, but first we're going to go to Justin Angelo, who has a football team of his own, the People's Ram, an IM team who suffered a loss in their first game, but they're coming back this week. Justin's going to give us the Big Ten International Report.
Yes, we're not going to have the IM report this week. That'll be for next week's show. Well, 5 more Big Ten games this week, and let's start out in Evanston. Northwestern looking to bounce back against Michigan State, which did bounce back last week, very impressively, beating Ohio State 23-7, holding the Buckeyes amazingly below 80 yards of total offense. Spartans have a very big game next week with Penn State, and in the past, this is a game they might have lost. But this Michigan State team does appear to be different. Their defense is very solid, and I look for them to go into Evanston and win handily, 28-7. Now, the biggest upset of the Big Ten season had to be last week. Minnesota going into Penn State and shocking the Nittany Lions with a Hail Mary catch and then a 35-yard field goal. Will there be a letdown for the Gophers? They face another bowl-hungry team themselves in the Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana's 4-5, but if they win their last 2 games at 6-5 and with an exciting quarterback in Randall L., they could attract some bowl attention. But they have to win in the Metrodome, and Minnesota's been very good at home this year, only losing closely to Wisconsin and Purdue. I look for Minnesota to win. I think it'll be close because I do think they'll have some sort of a letdown. But Minnesota has the top-ranked defense in the Big Ten. I look for them to get 7 wins for the first time since 1985 and defeat the Hoosiers 20-17. Now, after Wisconsin lost to Michigan in late September, did anyone think Wisconsin would go back to the Rose Bowl? Well, it looks like a definite possibility. All they have to do to tie for a share of the Big Ten title is beat mighty Iowa. Well, they're not very mighty. They, in fact, haven't won a Big Ten game in their last 12 Big Ten games. I don't look for this to be the first. Ron Dane is only 99 yards short of the all-time rushing record set way back in 1998. And I look for Wisconsin to win their 2nd straight Big Ten title and hammer Iowa 52-3. Now, the last Big Ten game before our game is Ohio State-Illinois. And before the season, Ohio State was ranked number 4 and 5 in as many as 3 or 4 different polls. They could have 4 or 5 losses this year. They'll definitely have 4. Illinois also has 4 losses, but the Illini are looking for a bowl bid, which to them would be a great step up from previous seasons. I think Illinois is going to upset Ohio State. The Buckeyes haven't played consistently all year. I look for Illinois to beat Ohio State in Columbus 24-21. Now, before we get to the Michigan game, let's go to the national report. And the biggest game this week is Virginia Tech and Miami. Virginia Tech fans are in outrage over being number 3 in the BCS. This despite a number 2 national ranking and a loss to Penn State. They didn't move up, and they don't deserve to. Beat a real team for once in your lives. They'll get a chance this week against Miami. But I look for Miami to step up. Miami has close losses to Penn State and to Florida State, so they're not going to be intimidated by Virginia Tech. This is by far the most athletic team the Hokies have seen all year. And frankly, Miami isn't UAB, James Madison, or Temple. Miami gets it done with the receivers, and thank God we don't have to watch Virginia Tech in the Sugar Bowl. I look for Miami to upset them 27-24. Now, that leaves one game left, Michigan at Penn State. Before the year, some people thought this would be a top 5 matchup. So is there some disappointment that this isn't for maybe the national title? In some regards, yes, but this is still a very important game for both teams. While the national title isn't at stake, as it was in Judgment Day 2 years ago, this game is huge for Michigan. If Michigan wins, they can win 10 straight games for the 3rd straight year and can get to a BCS bowl bid. A loss would mean that they'll have at least 3 losses for the 6th time in 7th year. Certainly not the way that the seniors want to go out. Penn State, the stakes are high too. Penn State can still go to the Rose Bowl at 10-1, be a top 5 team, and keep an outside hope alive for a Sugar Bowl bid. So who's going to win? If you asked me this 2 months ago, I would have said Michigan. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Penn State. But I think the loss to Minnesota is really going to hurt Penn State. Can they get up 1 week later and bounce back? They certainly will play well. Joe Paterno wouldn't have anything less. But I think Michigan bounced back last week. They're hitting their stride. I think Rashard Casey will make big plays for Penn State, and I look for him to get at least 1 long pass. But I think Tom Brady playing the whole game, establishing himself as Michigan's quarterback, the 5th-year senior will be the difference. And I think Michigan's offense makes plays. They will have balance. That's the key to this game. If Michigan has 20 yards rushing, they're not going to win in Happy Valley. The balance of Michigan, they'll beat Penn State in overtime, 30-24. And now, Luke, that's my take on the game. Let's hear yours.
We had Angelo's forecast. Now we're going to go straight to the Penn State Nittany Lions highlights. Looking ahead this week, did you get a chance to see the game this past week against Minnesota?
Portions of it. It was pretty exciting to say the least. But we expect, nothing less than their best, and we understand anytime you go into Happy Valley, you're in for a dogfight.
Right. You see Kevin Thompson here. He's the starting quarterback. They do have a 2-quarterback rotation, much like many other teams in the nation and Big Ten this year. Kevin Thompson's the incumbent starter, but Rashard Casey plays quite a bit and actually has better statistics if you look for the time he's gotten to play. He's a big play quarterback. Is that scary to have the 2 different attacks?
Well, we've played a couple different styles of quarterbacks all year. We understand that these guys are 2 of the best in the country. And we understand anytime, Casey's got the ball, he's dangerous on the run, but Thompson, can do the same thing.
Right.
They both got pretty good arms, and, when you got a guy like Chaffee Fields,
right,
who's a huge play guy.
19 yards a catch, 5 touchdowns already this season. Eric McCoo, over 5 yards a carry, you saw there. Courtney Brown, Lloyd Carr this week called him the best defensive lineman in the country. So he has that endorsement. 11.5 sacks this season. Brandon Short, a great linebacker in his own right, playing on the inside, definitely gets overshadowed by his partner in crime, LeVar Arrington, on the cover of Sports Illustrated this year. He's definitely the poster boy for this Penn State team. Now, what is this team's outlook going into this game against the Nittany Lions?
Well, we understand that if we have anything less than our best game, our chances are dismal. And we understand, when you got guys, big play guys on both sides of the ball in a team like Penn State, we're going to have our best game because they're, able and very capable of exploiting any sort of defect our offense or defense might have.
Now, we just talked a minute ago about the Minnesota Penn State game. I have to ask you a question first. Who were you rooting for either team when you're watching that game?
I hope for good quality games in all Big Ten matchups. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Now, this loss to the Golden Gophers drops them from number 2 in the country. Obviously, they lose their undefeated status. They had a really good shot at the Sugar Bowl. What type of effect do you think that has emotionally on this Penn State team?
I think it's going to be, to a certain extent, draining. But, I think anybody that believes that they're going to be down and out for this game, I think they're sorely mistaken. I think they're going to, anytime you have a coach like Coach Paterno and the type of tradition that Penn State has, in addition to the leadership that the guys have been showing on the Penn State team, I think they're going to learn from this, and this is going to make them stronger. They're going to come out, they're going to be fired up, they're going to be angry, and they're going to want to give us everything they've got to show that the pollsters and the ratings weren't wrong
right.
for the first 9 weeks of the season.
So you definitely think you're anticipating the best Nittany Lions team on the field?
I look forward to it because anytime you can play a team that's fired up, as fired up as I think they'll be in their own stadium, makes for a great afternoon, makes for a great challenge, and it's something you can be proud of if you do play your best game.
Now you talked about going into their stadium. Is this one of the tougher places to play in the Big Ten?
Absolutely. 2 years ago, the only time that I've been there, it was insane in the beginning.
Right.
It's a beautiful stadium. It's well kept. The grass is terrific, and their fans are, rabid, and they got
right.
that,
the lion
that goes off every time they make a big play. So,
right.
It's a great scene for college football. It's going to be nationally televised. We're excited about that, and we just want to go out and try and showcase what we can do.
Now, do you think the key early in the game, you talked about the fans, is this especially key to come out and establish yourself early and sort of take control of this game?
We need to go out as a defense and stop the run as soon as possible to the best of our ability, and then take care of the pass and the scrambling the quarterbacks are able to do
right.
to the best of our ability. Get the ball back for offense and hope and expect that they get the sort of balance that we've had the last couple of weeks in the running and passing, mix it up, have Tommy and if Drew's in there, Drew lead the offense, up and down the field and put as many points on the board as possible. And if we're doing our job on our side of the ball and they're doing theirs on their side of the ball, we're very confident that we can make a good game.
All right, now Penn State is ranked number 7 in the new Bowl Championship Series rankings that just came out. We're going to take a look at those right now. You see Florida State, now that is the controversy. Tennessee leapfrogged Virginia Tech despite Virginia Tech's undefeated status. But the big thing we wanted to show here, the 4 Big Ten teams in the top 13, Penn State at number 7, Wisconsin number 8, our own Wolverines at number 12, and the Spartans at 13, right behind the Wolverines. So this schedule, Rob, that your Wolverines team has played, ranked number 6 as far as schedule toughness by the computers, but we've done some research, and it's really hard to see how any schedule could be deeper and tougher than you've played. How do you think any team has played a harder schedule than you?
I don't know, and it really doesn't matter because we accept the challenge year in year out. That's what attracts a lot of our players. You want to play, and that's what atmosphere. You're on television every week. You're able to show everyone what you have as a team, and it makes it exciting. It makes football. Something that's not only visible to you and to your fans, but to the entire nation. And we would have no other way. If we had a bunch of cream puffs,
right?
It just wouldn't make it fun. I mean, if you didn't get to start out with teams like Notre Dame, Rice, and Syracuse, you wouldn't be as fired up. You wouldn't feel the sort of confidence that we've been able to feel when we go into the Wisconsin, the Purdue's. Unfortunately, by the time you get to state, about that time in the season, if you're not at the peak of your game, and there's any sort of letdown,
right?
Then you can have an unfortunate event like we did.
Right. So this is the statistic we use to show how tough the Wolverines' schedule has been so far. These are the teams that the Wolverines have already played this year, and all but Northwestern still have a legitimate shot at going to a bowl game. Notre Dame, you see, at 5-4. They have 3 games left, actually. They're playing 12 games this year. 2 wins will clinch them a spot at the Insight.com Bowl on New Year's Eve. Syracuse, you see they're 6-3. They're tied for 3rd in the Big East. They're actually one of the more questionable teams because Notre Dame can take over their spot in the Big East if Notre Dame has a better record. Rice, although maybe seen as a cream puff, the most puffy cream team on the schedule, won 5 games in a row. They're in 2nd place in the Western Athletic Conference. 1 game left against Texas El Paso, who they should beat, and they're guaranteed a bowl bid. Wisconsin 8-2, good chance to go to the Rose Bowl, as we've already discussed. Purdue, Michigan State, and Illinois all have very good shots to make bowl games. Indiana is the only one. They did have a chance a couple weeks ago, but now at 4-5, they have to win their last 2 games against Minnesota and Purdue to come up with a bowl game. So we just wanted to show you that.
I tell you what, you look at that, and it's impressive from one standpoint. But if you look at the losses, some people might say, well, hey, they've got 4 or 5 losses. But if you look at the teams that the sort of caliber schedule that they're playing. You know, they're playing other Big Ten schools, and everybody knows how hectic and congested the Big Ten is this year. And they're for a lot of those teams, some of those schedules are pretty tough too.
Right.
So, you know, I think it's a real tribute to the caliber of competition in the Big Ten to see that many people,
Right.
that many teams, going to a pretty respectable bowl.
Right. So 2 more bowl teams coming up, Penn State and then Ohio State. We'll be back next week to discuss the result of the game versus the Penn State Nittany Lions and look ahead to the Buckeyes in closing out this 1999 season. Thanks for joining us. For Rob Renus and Justin Angelo, I'm Luke Forrest on WOLV Sports.